My name is Anthony. Welcome to the first episode of Uncomfortable American History. Before we go any further, there's a question that has to be asked and answered. Why are we doing this? The reason that we're doing this is because in today's America, in 2022, the study and the teaching of history has become politicized to the point where certain factions don't want certain portions of American history taught or spoken of. We're not here for that. We are here to cover American history and have those conversations where there might be a few people that will be uncomfortable with what we're going to say here. So now, without further ado, let us get into our first episode. Our question of the day. What was the one reason, the central reason, for the American Civil War? Why did it start? Some people will tell you states' rights. Some people will tell you it was a war of northern aggression, where Union soldiers came down to the South to destroy Southerners' idyllic way of life. That would be wrong. The one reason, and we can boil it down to one word, the one reason that the American Civil War started? Slavery. Let me repeat that. Slavery. Now, why would I say that? Why would I sit here and say this to you? Because it's true. And how do we know it's true? Because we are going to review primary source documents. That is, the words, the letters, the speeches, the documents that were left behind by the Confederacy, if you will, that will explain exactly why they left. And yes, you will see it's slavery. So we are going to start with the president of the Confederacy, Jefferson Davis. Before becoming president of the Confederate States of America, Jefferson Davis was a senator from the state of Mississippi. In January 1861, he gave a farewell speech to his fellow United States senators. As Mississippi was preparing to leave the Union, he resigned his post in the Senate. We're going to now review part of his farewell speech. And in it, you will now see the beginning of a connection as to why Jefferson Davis will tell you that it's slavery. So, we're going to look at this text. Now, from this point forward, pay attention to any text that is outlined in red. The words in red we feel are the most important parts of the text that connect to our point of slavery being the reason for the Civil War. So now, at this point, let's take a look at what Jefferson Davis had to say in his farewell speech. So now that we've looked at Jefferson Davis and his farewell speech, you'll note that he said he agreed with the position that Mississippi took. So, next question, what position did Mississippi take? The answer is we will find out in Mississippi's Ordinance of Secession. Now, we're not going to look at the entire document, but we're going to look at the one section that tells you why Mississippi left the Union. And we'll talk about it on the other side. So have a look. Well, Mississippi just was blatant in their stance. There's no denying what Mississippi had to say. So we've covered Jefferson Davis and his state of Mississippi. Let's move on to the vice president of the Confederacy, Alexander Stephens. In March 1861, Alexander Stephens gave a famous address called the Cornerstone Speech or the Cornerstone Address. It depends on what copy you view. So in his Cornerstone Speech, Alexander Stephens lays out exactly why he feels that slavery was the reason for the breakup of the Union. Why don't we stop talking about it? Just take a look. Here we go. I don't think Alexander Stephens could have been any more clear with what he said. The new nation was founded on what? You see the red text, what it said. Slavery, that the Negro is not equal to the white man. That's pretty much it for Alexander Stephens. Now, as Alexander Stephens was from Georgia, let's take a quick look at the Georgia Ordinance of Secession, and let's see what the Georgia state government had to say. Take a look right here, right now. So again, Georgia seemed a little upset that the northern states may not have agreed with their stance on slavery. Well, let's now go to this. Out of the 11 Confederate states, 4 of them explicitly mentioned slavery in their ordinances of secession. That would be Mississippi, South Carolina, Georgia, and Texas. Now, just to further hammer the point home, we're going to take a look at Texas's ordinances of secession. And tell me what you think on the other side. So let's take a look at Texas right now. Well, it looks like Texas just jumped right into the fire. You can't get any more explicit than what Texas had to say. Now, out of the rest of the states, some of the states may have hinted at slavery. Other states didn't mention slavery at all. One of the states that did not mention slavery at all in their ordinance of secession was the state of Florida. And you will see just what I mean when you take a look at Florida's ordinance of secession right here. So Florida just went right to the point. They broke their bonds with the Union, and that was it. No mention of slavery. Now, I can hear someone out there asking this question. How can I be so sure that slavery was the cause when only 4 states explicitly mention slavery in their ordinances of secession? Well, that's easy. And the answer to that is the Constitution of the Confederate States of America, which was modeled on the United States Constitution with a couple of notable exceptions. Slavery is enshrined in their documents. Well, we're going to take a quick look at 2 areas of the Confederate Constitution that talk about slavery and its legality. So, here's the first one. Take a look. Okay, so now we've broke it up a little bit. Here's the second section of the Confederate Constitution that speaks about slavery. Take a look. So now that we've viewed those sections of the Confederate Constitution, now to wrap it all up, there were a list of states that sat for the Confederate Constitutional Convention and unanimously ratified the document. Now, I'm going to show you a list of the states that ratified the Constitution, and you'll note that Florida is among them. So, regardless of whether someone had slavery in their ordinance of secession, if they signed on to the Constitution, what does this tell us? Slavery. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the list of states that signed off on the Constitution, the Confederate Constitution, that is. Here we go. So, did you see that list of states? So what we like to do here at Uncomfortable American History is we don't want to preach to you. We don't want to hold you for an indeterminate amount of time. We are going to present you with basic facts. Now, what we're going to do at this point is we're going to give you a list of sources that we reviewed in order to make this video. And maybe this will spur on interest of some sort, or maybe it'll even spur a conversation or two. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring this episode to an end. So I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to thank you for listening. And just remember one thing. Don't let anybody whitewash history for you. Look these things up for yourselves. And remember also, when you go to school, you demand that they teach truth. Truth is what's important when it comes to American history, not whitewashing. Always, always, always teach truth. Bye now. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.